much. Thank you so much, sir. May I now request the Dean, School of Mechanical Engineering, VITAP University, Dr. P.S. Ramasrikant, sir, to introduce the chief guest of the inaugural session today.
Sir, you are on mute.
You are mute.
Yeah, sorry for that. So it's my honor and pleasure to invite today's chief guest, Shri Siddharth Balachandranji. He is the executive chairman and CEO of Bumeric Corporation Limited, a nearly $1,000 million company. Now, Shri Siddharth Balachandran, he is a civil engineering graduate from University of Mysore, India. And then he has gone for masters in international business from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade in collaboration with PSG Institute of Technology, Coimbatore. And he's also equipped with advanced management program from Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. Now, if you look into the Bumeric Corporation, it's a diversified multi-region and multi-business conglomerate with its headquarters in Dubai, which has got primarily 5 subsidiaries, 3 operating from Dubai and 2 from India. So Bumeric Corporation, FZE, Bunga Hardware Trading, and Bumeric Asset Holding Company. These 3 are operating from Dubai, and from India, Bumeric Invest Private Limited India and Bumeric Core Investments Private Limited India. These are the 2 which are operating from India. And if you look into Bumeric Core Investments, Srivas Roofing Private Limited and SB Global Education Resources Private Limited, these are the subsidiaries of Bumeric Core Investments Private Limited India. So now the Bumeric Corporation, it is the single largest shareholder in the major stock exchanges like Mumbai Stock Exchange, Metropolitan Stock Exchange, and also one of the top shareholders of National Stock Exchange. So all this is made possible by the efforts of Shri Siddharth Balachandranji. Now, if you look at his social portfolio, Shri Siddharth Balachandran, he is a founding member of India Club Dubai, and currently he is serving as the chairman of India Club in Dubai. He is a patron governor of Indian Social and Cultural Center Abu Dhabi, a member of Board of Governors GCC, and member of governing body of IBPC Dubai. And importantly, to the cause of education, like there is a school, Chinmaya International Residential School. He's a director for that, which is operating from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, India. Now, it's very rare, like once someone reaches the pinnacle, very few people look back to give back to the society. And Sri Siddharth Balachandranji, he's an epitome of that. He always looks for an opportunity to give back to the society. Now, he's a philanthropist. In UAE, he has supported many activities, and as son of the soil, India, he has always shown his patriotic fervor to do best to the India. So as a philanthropist, he has supported Al Jalila Foundation in UAE, and he is a supporter of Census Residential and Daycare for Special Needs, and Pediatric Center for Special Needs, and Al Noor Training Center for Special Needs, and is a patron of Science India Farm, and a patron of Dubai Autism Center, and a patron of Dubai KMCC. So these are just a few to name. The list is endless. And as I mentioned, as son of soil, he always looked forward to do something to India. So as a part of that, like he's a patron of Navajyoti Foundation, which is a NGO organization that focuses on rehabilitation of slum children in India. And so many slum children in India have got benefited by this. And through not just this, they are running a community radio development program called People's Power Collective, which is interested in empowering the rural and isolated communities of India, rural India. And he's also a patron of Jeevadhara Institute of Neurodevelopment and Research, Ernakulam, Kerala, India. Now, this institute primarily focuses on people with genetic disorders, Down syndrome, learning disorder, behavioral disorder. So the activity is endless. And apart from this, he's a patron of Sukirtam, a home for less privileged girl children. You can see his commitment for the focusing of girl children. With the girl children, they are most vulnerable section of our society. And his focus is on that. And because of this Sukirtam Foundation, like there are hundreds and thousands of students studying across various institutions in the Calicut city. Not just this, they are also trained in martial arts, and they are also developed, trained in self-development, skill development programs so that they can stand tomorrow on their own legs and support themselves. And he doesn't end there. He also shows his courtesy to animals. He's a patron of Wildlife Foundation SOS and the patron of Akshay Trust. These are just a few to name of the activities, philanthropy activities, what he's doing in UAE and India. So I feel it a privilege to introduce today's chief guest, Sri Siddharth Balachandran. So thank you, sir. Hearty welcome to you once again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is, first of all, thank you so much. I always like to start any address by thanking everybody, because to speak is easy. To organize, I think, is the most difficult thing. So kudos to all of you and thank you for your kind words. It always astounds me as to how much more it seems when somebody speaks about me, because let me be very frank, I'm just beginning. I'm at the start of whatever I intend to do, and I believe that even at a time when I end my life, I will still feel that I'm starting. But thank you so much for your kind words. Honorable Chancellor, Dr. Vishwanathan, the Vice Presidents, Dr. Kota Reddy, my dear friend, the Registrar, Dr. Shrikant, and all the other luminaries of the intellectual space in India and the world. Dr. Yunus, my apologies for missing you. It is such an honor and a privilege for me to be here. So once again, I extend my thanks. It is very wrong of you to assume that I have a busy schedule. I don't. It is always a privilege for me to be here to address both luminaries and emerging luminaries, that is the students, who are the actual bedrock of society. Ladies and gentlemen, I am of the firm belief that excellence is a journey, an unending journey. Now, where I would like to add a little perspective is, I believe, yes, excellence is definitely a journey, but I also believe that there are milestones in this journey, and very specific milestones. Now, these milestones are not just symbols. These milestones are an extension of the fact, of the reminder of the fact that you need to stop at each of these milestones. It is very important to stop at these milestones. Stop and introspect and retrospect, because the path ahead is still fluid. There is no single tarred road to excellence. It keeps changing. And it is very important for people, individuals, to realize this, because sometimes I feel that once they set off on a path, they think it's concrete. They think there is no change possible. But I feel that that is wrong. My life itself is probably an example. Though not consciously done, it was subconscious. I started off as a civil engineer, thinking that I'll change the world by building awe-inspiring structures. Changed almost immediately to the world of entrepreneurial development. Then it became the world of numbers. And now I feel, after 22 years of starting my career, I feel right back where I started. So this is, I think, the essence of my journey and what I feel every journey should be. The international conference that all of you have jointly succeeded in organizing is so important that its impact cannot be understated. Life has science as the building block. And there is no doubt in assuming that engineering is the building block of science. Now, being a little biased, civil, mechanical, and electrical are the building block of engineering. At least during my time, and I presume all of your times as well. The foundation of civil, mechanical, and electrical cannot be understated because they are the building blocks of this wonderful stream of science. So, in effect, engineering is life itself. And with that philosophy, I would like to sort of throw a little bit of emphasis on not the technological developments in CME or mechanical engineering and material science specifically, but also, I think, the developments of the human psyche, which you will agree is the most important factor in an individual today. The kind of turmoil, unintended turmoil that the entire world has gone through has also given a silver lining. Now, this silver lining is the fact that the human race, there were doubts about the human race, maybe a few decades ago, and probably as late as the last decade. There were doubts about the human race as to its resilience. Now, these last 3 years, haven't they proved us absolutely wrong in where we thought the human race would be at the hint of a disaster? Yes, there was the initial knee-jerk reaction, and there continues to be reactions. But on the whole, I think the world and the human race has understood that we are here to stay, yes, but I feel more importantly, the human race has understood its role in not only society and the world at large, but also this entire planet. Now there is a renewed optimism in helping other areas of society and other countries where actual help is needed. So there is an empathy that has been developed in the most adverse of circumstances. So I think this sense of optimism has come forth shining in the entire human race today. Now, I have a few character attributes when you sort of interpolate the human race into society blocks. And if you further interpolate the society blocks into individuals, I think every individual has a role to play in society, as we have found out many, many times in the past. There is no individual who's small. There is no individual who is extra large. There is only one unit, and that is the individual unit. Everybody has a role to play. Now, this realization that that individual has a role to play is where I think society and individuals falter. Sometimes there is an overemphasis, an over expectation on oneself. And most times there is a very underwhelming understanding of one's abilities. Now, I think the latest development in understanding the human psyche is the fact that it is not aggressive nature that makes one successful. It is not extraordinary intellectual prowess that makes one successful. On the contrary, it is absolute humility that makes one successful. Now, this understanding, it's very easy for one to state and one to sort of extol on this, because it's a cliche. Humility has been and will remain a cliche for some time. But I think slowly people are understanding this. You have to realize the fact that all of us are in this together. There is no silo, there is no island. All of us are one, and if one falters, the entire world falters. So I think this realization stems from the fact, from the renewed emphasis on humility. You are right, but so is the other person. Now, this quality, I think, has given a new sort of revelation about mediocrity. Now, all of us have been always talking about excellence. Mediocrity is also a state of mind. These are phases in everyone's life. Nobody's life starts off excellent, remains excellent, and dies excellent. There are phases in each person's life where we feel mediocre. More importantly, other people feel we are mediocre. Now, this virtue called humility is the first step to understanding the fact that you are actually going through a mediocre phase. Now, I've always believed that when you say that you're going through a mediocre phase, the most important word in that sentence is the word phase. It is temporary, it is not permanent. This realization slowly, I think, is dawning on people that when you're going through a bad time, when you're going through a set of adverse circumstances, it is not permanent, it is temporary. Now, once you have that realization that it is temporary, then you automatically galvanize yourself. Our body, our mind, and our soul, if I may add, start functioning as one when there is a realization that the future is always going to be better. So this message is what I would like the emerging scientists, and I was very happy to hear Dr. Reddy talk about the 111 patents, and very rarely do I see universities benchmark themselves on number of patents filed. So I think congratulations to you, and I hope this is the start of a new trend, because I'm convinced that gone are the days where people start measuring themselves on rank and grades. It still continues, yes, but I think this is the start of a welcome new era where we are no longer a transactional society. We are a transitional society. We transition through different levels. And in transitioning through those different levels, places of education, whether it's primary, whether it's secondary, whether it's specialized centers of learning like the universities, these are extremely important in terms of execution of thought. With this, I would like to congratulate all of you for organizing this international conference. And let me tell you, it is so easy to organize. It is so difficult to organize one international conferences. You're talking about 9. So I'm very, very happy to hear about this shift in benchmarking oneself and benchmarking and indirectly ensuring that your students are also benchmarked against this level of excellence. So once again, thank you all. I hope this conference reaches the desired result, that is igniting of the human mind. And this ignition, I hope it results in a raging fire. Thank you all for having me once again, and have a wonderful next 4 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your inspiring and deeply philosophical thoughts on humanity itself. Now it is my honor and pleasure to introduce the guest of honor, Dr. Mohammed Yunus, Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Binghamton University, State University of New York, USA. Dr. Yunus received his PhD degree in engineering mechanics in 2004 from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University, Virginia Tech. And between 2004 and 13, he served as an assistant and then as an associate professor of mechanical engineering at Binghamton University, State University of New York. And then between 2013 and 21, he worked at King Abdullah University of Science and Technology as an associate and then a professor of mechanical engineering. And currently, he is a professor of mechanical engineering at Binghamton. His research focus is designing and inventing devices of distinctive characteristics and superior performance for a variety of applications, including health, domestic, and industrial. His research focuses on the utilization of the mechanical and motion aspects of microstructures in multi-physics fields. His work on designing, modeling, fabricating, and characterizing smart micro and nano devices and structures. And he has worked on several MEMS and NEMS devices, including accelerometers, threshold switches, mass and chemical sensors, thermal actuators, resonance sensors, RF switches and filters, carbon nanotube resonators, magnetic sensors, energy harvesters, and logic devices, and so on. And he's the recipient of 2009 NSF Career Award. He holds several US patents, and he has published a book entitled MEMS, Linear and Nonlinear Statics and Dynamics. He serves as an associate editor of Nonlinear Dynamics, Journal of Computational and Nonlinear Dynamics, Journal of Vibration and Control and Mechanics. He is a member of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME, and IEEE. It goes without saying that he is a multifaceted intellectual and inventor with many achievements under his belt. So without further ado, I am delighted to request our guest of honor, Dr. Mohammed Yunus, to address the virtual gathering. Over to you.
Thank you very much for a very nice and kind introduction. I'm humbled speaking about humility, and I feel humbled by this kind words. Dear Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Dean, Registrar, Chief Guest, Mr. Balchandran, distinguished invited speakers, keynote speakers, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by first expressing my sincere appreciation and thanks for honoring me and inviting me to address this distinguished crowd of audience as a guest of honor at this first international conference on advances in mechanical engineering and material science, or ICAMEMS, organized by the School of Mechanical Engineering at this newly established university, which I'm proud I heard of, and its achievements, the patents, the innovations, very exciting university indeed. Indeed, the world is facing now enormous challenges, from global warming, from food insecurity, lingering pandemic, and in this very challenging time, people are looking at technological advancements. Technological advancements are needed more than ever before at this time, and such a conference and the great gathering of scientists is an excellent step forward to face these challenges. The theme of the conference, I like it actually, on mechanical engineering and material science. It's an excellent choice, testimony for the recognition of the overlap of these intermingling fields, as well as the importance of interdisciplinary research, which, as was cited, is part of my background, the interdisciplinary aspects of sciences. I'm also related to this conference by the acronym MEMS, which stands in your case for Mechanical Engineering and Material Science. And in my case, it's Microelectromechanical Systems. And my MEMS relies heavily on this interface between mechanical engineering or electromechanical systems and material science. We rely on silicon as a powerful material to provide these excellent properties that allow us to build devices, superior devices of low power consumption, compactness, and excellent material property, and so on and so forth. So, for example, one of the projects I worked on is related to a vibrating structure, a silicon structure, that when it's coated with a polymer, a special material, becomes sensitive and selective to certain poisonous gases. And hence you convert this device from a passive mechanical structure into an active sensor that can sense and detect low concentration gases and can, for example, inform about the presence of explosives or other dangerous materials. So the theme of the conference connects to the core of my passion and my background, and I'm glad I'm invited for this talk on this conference. Also, I would like to take this chance to congratulate the organizers of this conference. Remarkable job, as also Mr. Valchandran said. It's easy to talk, but it's not easy to organize, to bring people together and coordinate and schedule sessions and invited talks, especially when it's on Zoom or by distance and not in person. So it's very remarkable job of organizing this 3-day event, which I saw featuring lots of invited talks and more than 18 technical sessions. Really intense. Organizing such an event and this challenging time is not easy. It's really an accomplishment, especially as a first conference of this kind. I have to say I'm not surprised, because knowing people of India in particular, how resilient they are. And again, Mr. Valchandran talked about, learning about resilience in today's world. But I myself witnessed the resilience of the people of India through many of my visits to this great country, but also in one particular special visit that I will tell you its story in the next few minutes. So that was in December 2016. At that time, I was in Chennai giving one of these special 2-week courses at the IIT Madras. And one day I woke up to go to the classroom, and it was very rainy day. And it was too rainy to the extent that my host came with his car and picked me up, saying, "You cannot walk from your guest house to the classroom." So I went there and I noticed, many students are missing, of course. But when I started the class, I started to notice people started to come. And within, half an hour, most of the students, if not all of them came, but they came soaked, wet, in terrible situations. And they started to describe to me, about the wind and, how rainy and how terrible it was. I was blown away by their determination, courage, and how they insisted to come to learn. It was unbelievable feeling when I saw how determined they were. Many of them were, moms, employees, people with busy schedule came in such a day to learn. But I felt even more amazed when I learned that actually we are experiencing a cyclone on that day. I knew that I was later, that I was the only teacher in the building, an IIT Madras who was teaching. It seems they got notified somehow of the cancellation of the classes, and I did not know about it. But I was surprised that the students insisted to come. Anyway, so that was Cyclone, I think Verda was a category 2 cyclone. To me, it felt like category 10 at that point. So, needless to say that by the end of this day, I saw lots of smashing of windows, doors, blowing wind. It was really a very tough day. And by the end of the day, as you can imagine, it was very challenging for me to go home, to go to my guest house. So we had to wait and so on. But I made it. I made it at least to near the guest house. I saw water everywhere, power lines down, lots of huge trees. IIT Madras is like a resort, so lots of trees, historical trees went down. The whole campus was ripped off. That's what I felt. I was terrified. And even more so when I discovered that in my guest house, we had no electricity, no water, and I think no wireless signals. So I could not even talk to my family and my wife about what happened. And the situation, if I remember, continued for 3 to 4 days. So the demonstration of resilience came actually after the storm went off. At that point, needless to say that the people there took care of us to the extreme. They did everything in their power to ensure that we are safe, comfortable, well-fed, and so on, to the extent of what they can. But really what I witnessed when I started to look the second day, how many people went to work. They started to clean the streets, to remove the debris, fixing the power lines, fixing the water pipes. Amazing. So I was looking from the windows and so everyone was, the students were helping, workers, teachers, everyone was helping. And I believe in 3 days, 90% of the debris and damaged trees were removed. Roads were open, water and electricity came back amazingly in 3 days. And of course, IIT is a small example for what happened to Chennai. And later I saw same example for the city, although on a different scale and different participants. So in my mind at that point, I was like, okay, what if similar event happened in the US? How many days it will take to clean up the streets and to restore power? I can tell you now, I am in upstate New York. It's a very cold place. I think it's now currently minus 17. So always we get hit by storms, and I am always nervous about one of these snowstorms in which you hear about thousands and hundreds of thousands of people stay without power in such cold temperature for weeks and sometimes months. It happens in Texas. So what I saw in India is amazing. I saw resilience. I saw determination and courage. It's amazing. So I guess my main message here that, especially in today's world, resilience is needed more than ever in this very challenging time. As scientists, we need to demonstrate to the rest of the world that we can make use of science to overcome obstacles and to convert challenges into opportunities and success stories. So I guess my advice to all of us, including myself, and to the students especially, to make use of such technical meetings, conferences, to learn, participate, connect. It's an excellent opportunity to show to the rest of the world how science can build resilience and present solutions. In closing, I invite all of you to enjoy the events and sessions of this conference. I end my speech by wishing all of you the best of success. I wish you a successful conference and a fruitful meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts and Indian experience of resilience with us today. Next, I would like to request our beloved Chancellor, sir, Dr. G. Viswanathan, the founder and Chancellor of VIT Group of Institutions, to address the August gathering.
Good morning, good evening. Our chief guest of this first international conference on advances in mechanical engineering and material science, Mr. Siddharth Balachandran, Executive Chairman and CEO of Biomer Corporation Limited, Dubai, UAE. Our guest of honor, Dr. Muhammad Yunus, Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering from Binghamton University, State University of New York, which is very close to us, our partner university. Our Vice Chancellor, Dr. S.V. Kotareddy, Dean of the Mechanical School of Engineering, Dr. Rama Srikanth, the Registrar, Dr. Selvi Sivakumar, other professors from VIT AP, and others who are joining from various universities and industries from 25 states of India and 13 more countries of the world. I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this first international conference, which is going to be there for 3 days. As it was pointed out by our Vice Chancellor, we are in the 5th year. It's a very young university, VIT Andhra Pradesh, but they have made a mark in the country. As it was pointed out, we have emerged as the 2nd rank among the emerging universities in the country. And I admire them for their research work, which is being very well done in research publications, patents, etc. We have about 8,000 students from almost all the states and union territories of India. And also our teachers, professors come from the major states of India. That's our strength. And I'm happy that all of them work together, and especially the School of Mechanical Engineering under Professor Rama Srikanth is doing very well. And it's a premier school in VIT AP, which has dedicated team of highly qualified faculty members holding doctorate from elite universities across the world. The school is well known for its teaching and research contribution in composites, additive manufacturing, advanced manufacturing and material characterization, computational mechanics, fluid dynamics, biomedicine, thermal science, design, robotics, IC engines, tribology, colloidal suspensions and dispersion. These are the areas where our teachers are doing well, and also we have research students to help them. VIT AP aspire to be a valuable contributor to the nation's growth and development by producing highly skilled professionals and engaging cutting-edge research, which is the future requirement. In fact, we have invited two guests today, where our maximum alumni, old students are working. In US, we have almost occupied almost all the states in US, and we have more than 7,000 alumni working. And next comes in the order is UAE, Dubai and UAE, where more than 1,000 students are working there. In fact, I have the honor to visit often. Only for these 2 years because of Corona, I couldn't visit. So I'm happy that two guests have come from countries where we have the maximum presence of our old students doing very well, because we always follow them, not only just 3-4 years where they study here. We would like to follow them throughout their life, and we invite them every year here on 26th January for a meeting, but this year, unfortunately, they are not going to come. This conference, this 3-day conference, is planned and designed for researchers and students to explore the domain of mechanical engineering and material science. Over the course of these days, 3 days, participants will present their research findings and offer new insights into the existing discourse of mechanical engineering and material science. I hope this is going to be very useful for our students, particularly the research students. I hope that faculty, research scholars, and students will benefit from this initiative of IIT AP University. The youngsters today have to be on par with the educational requirements of the world, because the world has become a global village. And therefore, it is essential to discuss the recent trends in mechanical engineering and material science. This progress will lead to the development of society and the nation, because we are aiming at becoming an advanced country. Often our Prime Minister says that we should move to 5 trillion economy and then to 10 trillion economy. Ultimately, we want to be one of the advanced countries of the world. That requires very good research, and that's what IIT AP is aspiring. My best wishes for the successful completion of this conference, and wish you good luck for enriching the future in research. I thank the Vice Chancellor, the professors and research scholars for their immense contribution in the research area of India. IIT AP is one among the leading institutes, and I would like to thank our chief guest and guest of honor for having participated and delivered the lecture in this wonderful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your words of encouragement, sir. Next, we have the virtual inauguration of Conference Souvenir. And I would like to request our chief guest, Mr. Siddharth Balachandran, sir, to do the honor for us. And I would also like to request the guest of honor, Dr. Mohammad Yunus, Chancellor, sir, Dr. G. Viswanathan, sir, VC, sir, Dr. S.V. Kota Reddy, Registrar, sir, Dr. C.L.V. Sukumar, Convener, sir, Dr. P.S. Ramasrikant, kindly join Mr. S. Balachandran in doing the honors.